welcome to Basketball Talk Pro. Today we've got a subject that I think is very important to each and every one of you coaches. We're going to show you a little study that we did in Basketball Talk Pro on the power and the advantages of deflections, a very simple part of the game. I have to admit that throughout all my career, I never paid a lot of attention to deflections. I was aware of them, and I was especially aware of them when I had Maurice Cheeks in college. He got a lot of deflections. I did not realize, though, the number of those deflections that ended up in steals. Steals are the greatest possession you can have. The more possessions you can get through steals, better your chance of winning the game. But I don't think it's wise for you to develop a philosophy that encourages your players to, like, I'll say this again when we look at the chart, but to lay in the weeds trying to get steals, because you destroy your team defense that way. But deflections can be gotten without destroying your team play. Some deflections come from deflecting the pass from the passer. Some deflections come from the defensive man on a player, say like in a post position, where the pass is slow. This is why, I advise you to work on passing. Make the passes crisp. Don't use many bounce passes if you can get away from it, because they're slow. They are easily deflected, by the way, bounce passes. And the third, though, is one that really helps your defense, and that is digging. Now, we've always taught digging, but now I begin to see the amount of deflections that teams are getting. In the NBA, it's primarily the area, they're stronger passers, but digging on drives provides your defense to stay intact without trying to jump out and get fouls, and yet creates a problem for the driver, and that's where you can get a lot of deflections, deflecting that ball away from the dribbler, because his concern is not on you. His concern is on what he's got to see in front of him. So what I'm going to do is show you a chart that we did, and this is was a nice element of Basketball Talk Pro. A lot of guys chipped in and helped me with this. Did films on their own, both NBA films, college films, high school films, WNBA films, so that we've got a good look at the whole panorama of playing. So the chart will spell out everything for you. I want you to look at that right now and be prepared to write. You need to get the information that I'm going to give you on this chart. So let's look at the chart. Well, here's the chart, and it's a very good chart. I wish there was some way, maybe you can take a picture of it or something, but at least you can if you've got a notepad, a card or something to write on, you can get the key numbers. But let me explain the chart first of all. In this column, we call them Team A's. It doesn't make any difference. Team B is over here just to show you and how we determine it. This is a nice chart that was done by a number of conscientious coaches. took the time to watch these games. So in this, just to show you one instance, Team A is in this case Wisconsin. They were playing Michigan. Wisconsin had 8 deflections. Michigan had 5. Now, in steals off of those deflections, Wisconsin, out of their 8 deflections, got 3 steals. Michigan, out of their 5 deflections, got 3 steals. This is the information we're trying to solidify to show you the strength of deflections. Now, if you go down this chart, these are college games, all of these, and this is an NBA game. This is a women's WNBA game, a high school game, more college games, more high school games here. This is 2 NBA games done by the way, a pretty famous former NBA player that did this for us. He took a real interest in it. So that kind of gives you an overview of the places we went to. This Now we come up with totals: 195 for Team A, the teams that were Team A, and 160 for Team B. This doesn't really mean anything as far as Team B is not as good as Team A. It just happens that those numbers could be reversed without any trouble. But here's what you got to know: out of 195 deflections on Team A's, all the Team A's, 85 ended in steals. Out of 160 of Team B's, 78 ended in steals. But here's the big number that you want to make sure you've got written down. 355 deflections resulted in 163 steals. That's 46% of those deflections ended in steals. Now, this is a kind of a staggering number, or at least was to me. I have always had a sense or feeling that deflections would get you steals. But I have to admit that until I saw these numbers, that I had never really made a conscious effort for deflections. I would now, and I'm putting that into my thinking of a system, of putting it into the thinking of our system, because this is important. When you can add that many steals to your total outplay just by working on deflections. And as we pointed out, there's 2 types of deflections that we see. First of all is deflecting the ball that's passed. That's one of them. But another one that gets overlooked, and it fits our defensive feelings with our ball line defense, is digging. Rather than trying to stop a drive, for example, digging is just as effective, and a lot of times that ball can be knocked away. And those end up, it would seems to me, and I'll do a study on this, end up more in steals. But let's just look now at the average. The average per game was 12.19 in this column, 10 in this column. Basically, you're looking at getting 11 to 12 deflections a game is the average. Now it depends a little bit. You know, the NBA teams have more minutes than, of course, the high school teams, so we have to take that into consideration. But still, I think it's a pretty good number to use as a standard for you. You should be getting 11 deflections a game, and that would be something to work for, because you're going to end up with 5 steals out of that. And 5 steals are the most productive way you can get the ball from your opponent, is to get it from a steal. Hard to do. Uh, you're much better off trying to get deflections than laying in the weeds trying to get steals. That type of philosophy endangers you for your team defense. Digging, for example, and deflecting passes, for example, from the passer, do not disrupt your team defense. Remember this number, 46%. Remember this number, 11 to 12. What that comes out to is, for every deflection, for every 2.27 deflections, you get 1 steal. 10 deflections should get you 4 steals. The idea is to increase the number of deflections, and you will increase at almost a 50% rate your number of steals. So this is a very important element of your defense and your offense. Because if you're just getting the ball in negative possessions, you're going to lose. You have to get a lot of positive possessions, and this is one way. Well, I hope this is helpful to you. As we go along in Basketball Talk Pro, I will try to bring this to the forefront in more situations. I think we talked about this with Golden State, the number of deflections and steals that they got off those deflections helped them through the year with their success. So this is it for the chart. I hope you get something out of it. Thank you. Well, that's it for the chart and the information. I hope you take a serious look at this. I think it can really help you. Be wary, though, that you don't go so hard for deflections that you destroy your team play. You must keep your team defensively from becoming scrambled. And deflections, working on deflections only to get your steals, will keep your team contained and without getting players out of position, where that's where the scramble begins, usually, is players out of position. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you get something out of it. We try to give you things in Basketball Talk Pro that can help you as a coach. But you got to put it into action. You can't just talk about it. You have to take it by the horns and now sit down and say, how am I going to develop my drills so that I will get more deflections. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.